Hello. Hi, guys. Today I'm going to go ahead and do a video about subtraction with three-digit numbers because it sounds like when I'm talking to your parents on the phone, they are saying that some of these strategies that you're trying to show them that they're not understanding. So I'm going to go ahead and do a video for you guys and for moms and dads too. So moms and dads, if you want to pay attention to this lesson, it'd be a really good idea. Just so you can see how math has changed a little bit in the classroom. It's not always taught the way that we were taught. We kind of listen to the students' way of thinking. Sometimes they don't think naturally the way that we were taught how to subtract our numbers. So I'm going to show you some of the other strategies that are being taught in class. So I really suggest that kids go ahead and press pause and then go get a whiteboard and a marker, or go get even just a piece of paper and a pencil. And you can go ahead and when you're ready, press play, and you can go ahead and do the problems with me here today. Okay. And moms and dads, feel free to do the problems with me too. All right, so we're going to be doing subtraction today with three-digit numbers. So subtraction with three-digit numbers means you have a ones place, a tens place, and a hundreds place. Okay, so for example, if we have the number 732, we can see that there are seven hundreds, three groups of 10, which really means the number 30, and two ones. Okay, I'm going to come over here because I feel like I'm blocking the board most of the time when I'm over there. And we're going to go ahead and subtract 456 from 732. So 732 items. So we're thinking about a number of 732. 732, is it a big number? Is it a small number? It's a pretty big number, right? Because we're in the hundreds now. So if we have markers, we're talking about markers. We have 732 of them. It's quite a bit, okay? But we're going to take away 456 of them. How many are we left over with? Okay, so that's what we're talking about here today. So the strategies that we're going to be experimenting with today are base 10, okay, decomposing, and jumps on the number line. We're going to use the same problem for all three strategies so you can see the different ways that kids are thinking. So moms and dads, the way that we learned how to subtract our numbers was called the stacking strategy. And it is still a strategy used today. However, it is the easiest strategy to get to the answer, no doubt. And eventually, we want the kids to learn the stacking strategy. According to brain research and data show that children at a young age, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, even third grade, sometimes their brains aren't developed enough to learn this strategy. They're just not ready for it yet. Their brains aren't naturally thinking that way. Okay, and I'll explain as we go along where some of the issues lie with our younger kids and teaching this strategy. So hopefully after today's video, you'll see why math has changed a little bit in the classroom. And trust me, I've been teaching a long time, and even when I first started learning how to teach different ways, different strategies, I was a little hesitant, a little skeptical myself. But after doing a lot of brain research and a lot of reading and research on my part, I definitely agree with what the research is showing. Okay. All right. So let's get started. 732 minus 456. We're going to go ahead and practice that with a base 10 model. So base 10 is basically showing objects using base 10 math cubes. Okay, so base 10 math cubes would look like this. So 700, if we're going to represent 700s, we draw squares. Those represent our hundreds. So each one represents 100. So we're going to come over to our hundreds plates. That's what the H stands for. This is called an HTO model, which means hundreds, tens, and ones chart. Works really good for second grade since they're learning how to deal with 3-digit numbers. So we're going to go ahead and draw 7. We call these hundreds flats. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have 7 hundreds flats. Try to make it dark enough so you can all see. All right, and I'm going to now draw in the base 10 model 3 groups of 10. So now we want to be careful here because we want the kids to understand that this is just not 3 items. This is not 1, 2, 3. This actually means 30. So this is where sometimes the stacking strategy gets a little bit confusing for them because they think that this number is just a 7. They think that it's just 7 little objects. They think that this number is just 3 little objects. They don't have that concept yet of this is 700 objects and this is 30 objects. So we keep reiterating this, okay? And this is why the base 10 model comes in handy because while we're teaching them this, we're actually having them physically count that as well. Okay, so we're now going to build the base 10 model for 3 groups of 10. We use lines, so each number represents a 10. So 10, 20, 30. So when I'm teaching that in class, I always say 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 10, 20, 30. Okay, so those are 30. That represents the number 30. So now we have in the number 732, we're ready to fill in our ones, and our ones would sit here. And for ones, we just draw dots, and that would be 2 dots. So you can explain that 2 dots mean 2 objects. Okay, so once we have our base 10 model set up for subtraction, we always set up our whole number. So what the number that's the bigger number is the number we're going to take away from. Okay, so we're always going to take away starting with our whole number. Our whole number is 732. We're going to take away 456. Okay, so when we're taking away 456, we encourage the kids that they can take away any number they want to first. If they want to take away the 400s, they can take away the 400s. If they want to take away the 50, they can take away the 50. If they want to take away the 6, they can take away the 6. When we always learned how to start with our ones place. Okay? But brain research is showing that kids, they read from left to right. They want to start left to right. And when we read that number, we start it with 700. We start it with the first number. So for them, it doesn't make any sense to start with 6. Take away. This is just a process that they have to learn, steps. So this is where some confusion begins, okay? So we have to be very careful, and we guide them on their thinking. Where would you like to start? Would you like to start taking away the 400s, the 5 groups of 10, or the 6 ones? Most kids are going to tell you, I want to take away the 400. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take away the 400. And in class, I just have them mark out 400s. Okay, so 100, 200, 300, 400. I hope you're doing it with me. Okay, go ahead and mark out your 400s. How many hundreds are we left with so far? Yeah, you can see that we're left with 3 hundreds flats. So we know our answer is going to be in the 300s somewhere. Close to that, maybe. We'll see. We got to keep going though. Okay, so now we're going to go to our 10s, and we see that we have to take away 5 10s. Okay, so we're going to go to our 10s place, and we're going to start Xing out 5 groups of 10. All right, so there's 1 group of 10. 2 groups of 10, 3 groups of 10. Okay, well, I've only been able to take away 3 groups of 10. So this is where we see a little issue. Well, there's no more 10s to pull from. And we see that issue when Mom and Dad, when we do our stacking strategy. And what did we learn when we were younger, we learned that we had to borrow from our neighbor, right? Okay, that idea is still the same. So we're going to borrow, we call it regrouping. We're going to regroup. So we're going to say, hey, our hundreds place has 300s here. So why not bring one of those hundreds back over to the tens, right? Because that's what we do when we do stacking. So I'm going to use this guy right here, this hundreds flat. I'm going to bring him back, and I'm going to make him go back into his tens look. Okay, so I'm going to turn him into tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So that is 100. We're just breaking it back up into the tens look. So technically, our hundreds flat is no longer there. It's now here because we needed it. We only had 3 groups of 10 to pull from. Now we have enough to pull our extra 2 that we need. So 3 tens, let's keep going. Let's get those 5 tens taken care of. 4 and 5. Okay, so we went ahead and took away our 5 groups of 10, our 50. We're taking away 50. And can you see how many tens are left over? Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups of 10 are left over. Do we still have the 300s that are left over now? No, now we see that we have 200 left because we needed one to regroup, didn't we? To help out the tens place. And now we have 8 tens, which is really the number 80. That's right, 80, good job. Okay, so we took away our 400s, we took away our 5 tens, and now we need to take away our 6 ones. So let's go to our ones place, and let's take away 6 ones. 1, 2, okay, we run into the same problem. We're only able to take away 2 ones, so that means we need to go. Moms and dads are already thinking, we need to borrow, we need to borrow. Yeah, we need to borrow or we need to regroup. So we're going to go to our tens place now. So for our ones, if we run out of ones, we go to our tens place. If we run out of tens, we go to our hundreds place. So it is kind of like going to your neighbor and asking them to borrow something, okay? So here we see that we have, remember we have 8 tens still in our tens place. So we're going to use one of those to regroup to our ones. So I'm going to use my next group of 10. I'm going to bring them over, but I'm going to turn them into ones now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I just broke up that one group of 10 and I put him back into the ones place. But you have to remember to get rid of that 10 now because he's no longer there. He's now sitting in the ones. Okay, because remember we needed him so we can go ahead and take away 6 ones. We were only able to take away 2. So let's go ahead and take away the rest. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we were able to take away our 6 ones now. We were able to accomplish our goal. Now, can you see how many ones are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we're ready for our answer. So draw your answer bar and get ready to write down what is left over. So in our hundreds, remember, there were 2 hundreds left over. 1, 2 hundreds flats. So we'll go ahead and write that in standard form. 2 hundreds. And how many tens are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, remember, we had to regroup 1 and put it in the ones. We had 8, but now it's 7. So make sure that you're counting correctly. 7 groups of 10 is really what number? 70, right? Yep, that's really the number 70. 270, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones are left. So if we have 732 objects minus 456 objects, we're going to have 276 left over after we take away that number, okay? So moms and dads, the stacking strategy, how we learned it was we always started with our ones place. So if we try to go 2, take away 6, we knew that we couldn't do that. We saw that here when we were doing our base 10 counting, except we started with our hundreds place. So, but what we were taught to do was to regroup right away. So we went to the 3, to our 3, which was 30, and we regrouped it to 10 less, which was 2. And then we turned our 2 into 12. So that's kind of what we did here. We turned our 2 into 12. Okay. So then we said, okay, well, 12 minus 6 is 6. And then we came to our tens place and we went, okay, this is really like 20 minus 50. Well, you can't do that. So we needed more. So we went to our hundreds and we said, well, we got 700 here. Let's go ahead and regroup a group of 100 into 600. Now we have 12 groups of 10, which is really 120, right? So 120 minus 50 is 70. And then we have 600 minus 400 is 200. Okay, so mom, dad, that's how we learned. And you can maybe see how a 7, 8-year-old would kind of think this is a little bit confusing, especially if their number sense isn't very strong. So if this seems to be a little bit too hard for your child, and it's okay to question them, how did you get that 12 there? What does that 12 really mean? What does that 12 really mean? Okay, if they can't tell you that's 12 groups of 10 and they can't tell you that's 600s, their number sense is not as strong as you think it is. Okay, and it's okay to admit that. They're only 7 or 8. Okay, so they're developing. They're all on their little developmental path. Okay, most kids don't understand that concept, and it's totally okay. But if they understand this, that helps build their number sense very strong. Okay. All right. So let's move on. I know this video seems like it's going to be long now, but I want to add a lot of details so we all understand what we're doing in the classroom. Okay. A lot of kids will think naturally this way. Most kids don't think naturally this way. A lot of kids think about decomposing naturally. Okay. So this is another strategy that some kids like to use in class. Decomposing with subtraction looks a little crazy. I know it does, but some kids want to do it this way. So if they want to do it this way, let them do it. As long as they're coming out with this answer, you're good. Okay. So let's not force them to do something that they don't want to do. Maybe you can challenge them. Maybe you can say like, hey, you got the correct answer. Could you try a different strategy? Do you know how to do it with a different strategy? That would be a good question for your child if you want to challenge them. Okay, decomposing. So with decomposing, we're breaking apart our place value. So when I say breaking apart, that's what decompose means. Decompose means to split or break apart. So we're going to pull apart our 700, our 30, and our 2. So 700 by itself looks like this. Okay, 700. Where we put plus signs between our numbers because when we add up those numbers, it's going to total 732, okay? And I know that we're subtracting, but we're not doing the subtracting yet. We're only pulling apart our place values, but put plus signs in between. Okay, 3, that 3 means 30, and that 2 means 2. 700 plus 30 plus 2 is what we call expanded form for the standard form look of 732. We'll go ahead and decompose our 456 also. 400 plus 50 plus 6. Okay, go ahead, make sure you're writing this down. If you have a whiteboard, write it on a whiteboard, on your paper pencil, write it down. All right. So usually the kids get this part pretty easy. They like the decomposing part here. So sometimes where they get a little confused at is the subtraction part now and the regrouping. So we're going to work on that today. So when we look at 700 and 400, I tell the kids, like, you can think of these numbers as being like your hundreds place can be like your grandma, grandpas. They're the old ones, okay? They're in their hundreds. And then your tens place can be more like the moms and dads. They're in their double digit numbers in life. And the ones place numbers can be like the kids or the babies in the family. So just for like second grade style, I kind of get them to think like this. It's kind of fun for them. So I say, okay, let's subtract the grandma and grandpa's first. But I always make sure I say like it's really the hundreds place. Okay, so 700. So what I like to do is connect them like that. So I have them draw like a little arrow line, and I put a little minus sign there. So just as a reminder that now we are subtracting our hundreds. So if we have 700 minus 400, and if they can't mentally do this yet, you need to have them take it off to the side and draw 700 flats and subtract 400 of them. So they can see that there are 300s left. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and write 300 like that. Okay, there's 300 left. So now we're going to get ready to subtract the moms and dads, the tens place, right? So we're going to subtract 30 minus 50. Okay, and again, if you want your kids to, if they can't mentally do this yet, they need to come over to the side of their paper and draw 3 groups of 10 and have them subtract out 50. Okay. All right. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3. Well, we still run into that problem when we don't have enough where we have to regroup. Okay. So when we regroup, we have to think with decomposing. Oh my gosh, I'm short some 10s. Where can I get some 10s? Oh, well, where did we get 10s when we were stacking? From our hundreds, right? Where did we get 10s when we were doing base 10? From our hundreds. That concept doesn't change. We still have to go to our hundreds to get our extra 10 there. Okay, so we have 300 left over. We can pull out 100 there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 100 out. Okay, and we're going to pull 100 over, we're going to pull 100 here, and we're going to put it into our 30. Okay, so it's going to look like this now. So 300 minus 100 is 200. Okay, and now it's going to say plus 130 plus 2. This one is going to still say 400 plus 50 plus 6. Okay, but now we can see we can do this 130 minus 50. Okay, so that's like having 10 more 10s here. So we have to, if you're doing this part on paper pencil, you have to add 10 more in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we already took away the 3. And again, if your child cannot mentally subtract 50 out of 130, have them do it here. So they already took away 3. They still needed to take away 50. So 2 more, 40, 50. Okay, so then they can clearly see what's left over. Sometimes kids can mentally subtract 50 from 130, and they can see that there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 left. Okay, so now we did that. So far we have 280. Let's go ahead and take care of our ones place. So now we got to subtract the babies or the kids of the family, right? So that would look like this. 2, we're subtracting 2, take away 6. So if we have 2 ones, remember, same issue as we had over here and over here, we couldn't take away 6. We could only take away 2, which means we need to regroup. And where did we regroup when we were here for our ones? Right, we had to regroup to our 10s. We had to go to our 10 and pull a group of 10 out. We're going to do the same thing. I have 80, but if I pull a group of 10 out, minus 10, sorry, it's getting really small. I'm running out of board space, but hopefully you can see. Now we have 70 left over. We have 70, okay, because I'm going to take this 10 and I am going to add it to my 12, right? Or I'm sorry, not to my 12, to my 2. So that way I have 12 now to work with. So really I'm adding 10 more 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think I added too many. I was only supposed to add 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. We're only adding 10 more, right? Because that's all we're pulling over. But now we have to continue subtracting. We only took away, so we were supposed to take away 6. We only took away 2. Let's keep going. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many are left over. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what we're doing is we're turning this 2 into a 12. So when we rewrite it, I'm going to have to erase a little bit so you guys can see. So when we write it, it looks like this. 200 plus 70 plus 12. Oh boy, I'm still running out of space. Hold on. I'm going to squeeze this in, I promise. Okay, 200 plus 70 plus 12. And then over here we had 400 plus 50 plus 6. Okay. So when we do this part, it's 12 minus 6, which is 6. Okay? I just want to see you see that little part. So what we're left with is 2 in the hundreds, 2 hundreds, 7 tens, and 6 ones. So you can see when they do all of the decomposing, that's what they're left with in the hundreds, that's what they're left with in the tens, that's what you're left with in the ones. So what does that number look like? It looks like 200 plus 70 plus 6. We're almost to our answer now. So let's get it back into standard form, which is 276. Okay. I know. It looks crazy, Mom, Dad. I totally agree. Okay. But I'm telling you right now, some kids want to think this way. You just got to let them roll with it. Okay. Again, if they're getting this number correctly, it's fine. Okay. Do we want them eventually to learn this? Yes. But here's the thing. They have to go through all of this hard work in their brain before things start to make sense like this. Okay. So let them develop that hard mental work. Okay. Before we teach them the shortcut. All right. So last strategy, that was a big one because there was lots of regrouping going on and it kind of gets a little hairy in between. Last strategy is jumps on the number line. Okay. So jumps on the number line are a little bit easier, and regrouping is not such a big deal with jumps on the number line, and I'll show you how that works. So remember, boys and girls, when you're doing jumps on the number line with subtraction, we want to start our number line on the far right because we're going to be subtracting, which means we're counting backwards, and we need to go backwards this way to our left. So I'm going to start with 732 here. So on a number line, we would draw a dot. And I'm going to label this as 732. Okay, so I'll give you time to go ahead and write that down. We are going to take away 4 hundreds, which means we are going to jump backwards 4. Okay, not 4 ones, 4 hundreds. So make sure that you understand that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am taking away 100, taking away 100. Taking away 100, taking away 100. Okay, so remember we're taking away 400. So if we're skipping over 100 from 732, what number are we at now? So if I take away 100, we're at 632. Okay, if I take away another 100, now we're at 532. If I take away another 100, I'm at 432. If I take away another 100, I'm at 332. Okay, so what do you notice is changing? The hundreds place, right? Because it's decreasing by 100. We had to do that 4 times because we're taking away 400. All right, now we need to take away 50. So that means we're going to jump back 5 groups of 10 from 332 because that's where we left off. So 5 jumps, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's see where we're at there. Okay. So if we take away minus 10 on our first jump, 332 minus 10, okay, just change your tens place, make it go down a group of 10. That's right, 322. Let's take away another 10. Now we're at 312. Take away another 10. Where are we at now? So you see it's decreasing by 10. And only our tens place is changing now. That's what should be happening. Our hundreds place will not change until we regroup, right? Because remember, we're gonna go back into the 200s because we are subtracting. Okay, it's gonna happen. Minus 10 here. We're at 302. Minus 10. Oh, here it comes. 302 minus 10 puts us back into the 200s at 292. And moms, dads, this is hard for the kids right here. This 302, take away 10, super hard going from 100 to the next. Have them physically count it. If they don't understand, like mentally taking away 10, if they're not understanding this part, have them count out 302, 301, 300, 299, 298, 297, 296, 295, 294, 293, 292. Show them that is 10 less, okay? So again, we're trying to develop that real strong sense for numbers. If they don't have it yet, mentally taking away 10 or 100 is going to be hard for them. Okay, minus 200, oh, we're at 292. We have to take away one more group of 10. Remember, we're taking away 50. And now we're at 282. Yeah. Okay, so we took away 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We got our 50 taken away. Now we need to take away our 6 ones. So 6 little hops here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're starting from 282, subtracting 1. So minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 6 ones, 281. So we're counting backwards now. 280, 279, 278, 277, last hop, 276. There it is, our answer. 732 minus 456 equals 276. Okay, I got to get going because the disk space on my computer is about to run out. I hope this was super helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. Thanks for watching. Bye.